Hello everyone, my name is Yusuf Orza, and today I wanted to make a video in terms of job issues that a lot of people are facing, considering the COVID-19 issue. So, meanwhile, since all of us use Facebook, going through different social websites, so I was going through a lot of pages and came to know, since we all talk to our friends in terms of the job, current economic situation and rest. So similarly, I thought to write something, which I did, in terms of my latest article which I wrote, and posted on LinkedIn. Now that was pretty much about you know when you complete your degree, for example your bachelor or like your master. A lot of people actually, uh, rather they wait for their degree, than going for a job right away. So if I go retrospectively, when I was a kid actually, uh, I was in fact in college doing the bachelor, and that's when I started my first job. That was back in 2013. Now the problem, what I see currently in society is that a lot of people, especially a lot of youth, what they do basically is that either they look for the field related job, which pretty much creates hassle for them. The reason for that is they keep waiting for the opportunity, and what happens, then they get fed up and sitting at home, doing nothing. Then a lot of situations, since we all understand, being part of a mediocre family, if you're not doing job, that pretty much means that you're not helping out your family. So rather going for any job, what basically they do is that they sit at home. And of course, when, for example, you're an engineer or you have any other accounts degree, and still you're not getting a job because you have invested a lot of money in terms of your degree, and still you're not getting any job, that pretty much means it puts a lot of pressure on yourself. And later actually you pretty much go through different repercussions, which unfortunately there are a lot of few of the cases, in fact, where even there were few young people who actually committed suicide. So the reason is very simple. What we are doing, instead of having opportunities in our hand, doesn't matter if it's something not related to your field. What you have to do, you have to earn something. Okay, either it should be a job or doing your small business. It's very simple. So if you're waiting that you're gonna get pretty much get a job of your own, pretty much, let's say, field, that is something you're wasting, pretty much of yourself. Now I remember, though I never in my life actually like doing the night job, nobody does that, but still, rather than sitting at home doing nothing, I preferred, in fact I asked my family, what, I wanted to do job. Even they were against that, because the reason for that, night shift, going out, since we all know, they may say that it's not safe going at that time, but still actually I insisted that this is the time I need to do something, and I went for a call center job. That was my first job, and pretty much it helped me, though I had bachelor degree in commerce, but still, in terms of the communication and rest, I would say that was the best decision actually I made in my life, that I chose to do a job rather sitting at home. And it improved a lot in terms of my communication. Then I got my other chances. I even went abroad for 2 years in Dubai, and it really helped me out, because that first job basically laid the foundation of my experience. Now currently I am doing a job, still doing a job, but uh, it's great. I mean, I never had to suffer, for a job, because of the field I chose, and that's pretty much of the customer services. Now the reason for that is, now currently in Pakistan, there are a lot of jobs that are actually based on offshore facilities, where, for example, you have the call center, where you dial, on different campaigns, or apart from that, there are, a lot of other jobs like inbound or outbound call centers. So most of them, are like US, Canada, or UK based. So that pretty much, gives you exposure still to do some, kind of job, and it's better rather than sitting at home doing nothing, and again getting that pressure thing, then, pretty much of the psychological hit, then, you know getting yourself pretty much like melancholy, and then you get like anxiety stuff and like that. It's better to go out and do some job. It's very important. And always remember one thing: no matter if you're doing a job that you don't like, do not leave it until you have a good opportunity in your hand, because, for example, if you have a current job that you don't like and you try to switch it, right away, and you don't know about the company you want to join right yet, so do not, pretty much uh, try to, make some of the decisions like without thinking or considering. So it is very important to, do a certain contemplation to ensure that if you're getting a new job, there's a, there is a purpose, there is a reason. Either you are going to a great, organization where you have professional, environment and rest. So in short, the reason of this video, I just wanted to let a lot of people who are out, looking for a job or opportunities, and they have that thinking, that we will get, if you have, bachelor degree in commerce, we will, pretty much get accounts job, or if I am an engineer, I would get, engineering based job. Well, I do understand it's pretty much not a bad thing, to even consider. But the problem is that if you're in a society like right now, where you do not have, jobs or demands, either you have to be very selective in terms of your job, your study first, because at the end of the day, you have to analyze the society, if what you're studying has any impact, in the future in terms of your job. Because we need to accept that in Pakistan, most of the people actually pursue their study because they think that in the future that would particularly help them to have get a job. Now, apart from that, one more thing about the people who do, master. That's great. I mean, you need to do study as much as you can, but most important thing is that you have to develop the skill, which is pretty much important. Because if you don't have skill, one of them is like communication. Nowadays, it's very important. If you cannot communicate, that pretty much keeps you back. The reason for that is, I mean, at any level, at any organization, now they ask people who are multitasking or who are ambidextrous. And if you cannot do multitasking, people would rather choose a person who can do that. And most importantly, a person who's multitasking should have communicative skill as well, because it's very important. I mean, we are human beings, right? We cannot live a life of xenophobic. You cannot leave yourself out of the spectrum, and that pretty much is a company, for example, where you have different people and you have to communicate with them in order to do the job, because there are different departments, you have to communicate with them. So remember one thing: the degree is pretty much a good thing. I 100% agree on that. But most importantly, what you have to understand, you must have the skill, because at the end of the day, the degree will give you access to the room, I mean the interview room. But if you do not have skills, you don't know how to tackle, for example, if you're sitting in front of a panel of board who is taking your interview, and you don't know how to satisfy them, how to tackle them, how to revert to their tricky questions. So at the end of the day, your degree is of no use, because nobody will give you a job unless you are not communicative, you're not confident, and again, at the end of the day, you have the skill. It's very important. The skill is a must thing. So what I pretty much say is that at the time you have the degree, that's pretty much good thing. Try to improve a lot of things, communication, then different things like Office, like Excel, then you have Word. These are important things nowadays, pretty much important in almost all jobs. So again, try to engage yourself with rather it's call center field, or let's say job that you won't think that it's pretty much good in terms of your education and all. But right now you're talking about a society where we have a tough competition. So even if you get a small job, try to get better out of it. Take it as internship, okay? And once you think you have all the pretty much of the things that a good person or a candidate must have in terms of skill and rest, then go for a better opportunity. It's that simple. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it gave you any information in terms of job searching and rest. So in case you have any concerns, feel free to contact, and I would be leaving my email as well, so I can have the feedback from you. Thank you very much. God bless you all, and stay safe and stay home for sure.